Okay, so we are recording. Everybody's got their little notice. We are recording. So I'm gonna spotlight. So how do I do this? I think I spotlight me, and then I spotlight Tim. Add a spotlight, right? So maybe we could get a thumbs up in chat if we see if that's doing what it's supposed to do here. Oh,
That
and then
worked.
excellent. And then I'm just realizing, because we're keeping this so low key, excellent. This was what I meant to send you in chat a minute ago, and I never hit send, Tim. Okay, awesome. So let's get going. It's calibration circle time. Ah, I look forward to our time together as a community, and we do keep it pretty low key here. This is intended to, come together, take a breath, meet with our community, learn some things, network. It's really a chance for us to connect throughout the year. Who's us? Who I mean by that is really this organization. The doors are open to all professionals, anyone who would like to join us, really, um, who feels like we're their vibe. So this group launched with our meeting expansion, which is an annual get together, retreat, educational love fest. Would you agree? Love fest that we hold early each January. And oh, I love that it gave you little hearts. That's so cool. So we get together and we set our year off right, where we learn, we are in community, we are supported throughout the year. And this is one of the ways we support that community. People who want to come together to align their values and their professional practices in both work and life find their way here. So this is really our community where we deepen those relationships and cultivate self-awareness. So our monthly program is Calibration Circle. That's where we're at today. This includes a 90-minute session. Now, those of you who are watching this on recording will not see 90 minutes. You're just going to see our educational component at the beginning, and then we open up the and I'm just realizing I am recording, right? Yeah, it is. Okay. Then we open up our session. We stop the recording, we come back on camera, and our educator, who we have a special educator here with us today, a guest expert, will prompt us with some questions to get us started. And we're going to just bat the topic around and see where we go. We're going to go where the spirit takes us. So our first 15, 20 minutes is like the housekeeping. We're going to do some education. And then we are going to lean into our networking. So our goal is interaction, ultimately, with camera on later in the session. I would encourage you to just be comfortable. Feel free to move around, get something to eat. I know we're all at different time zones. And that's pretty much it as far as our housekeeping. So I've really been looking forward to this topic. And really looking forward to showcasing not only the brilliance of this man, because he's so humble, he's going to be like, okay, but you know what it is for me, Tim, is your heart. I think you are one of the most heart-centered, lovely people I know. And Dana is so similar, and you are two just amazing powers of light in our world, and we're so glad you're both in our world. Of course, Dana being our Mrs., and you're her Mr., and Dana being one of us as a dentist, but also one of us as a member of this community. And I just have had the pleasure of working with you personally. So I'm just really glad to be able to help your light shine a little more in our little corner of the world. Let me tell you a little bit more about Tim McNeely. For those of you who are newer to Tim, he has the alphabet soup behind his name. Those are all important alphabets too. We have certified financial planner. We have CFP. We're all used to that. We have CIMA. That was a new one for me. I think we would call it CIMA, Certified Investment Management Analyst. And a third, he also has CEPA, Certified Exit Planning advisor. One of the things that's really special about Tim in our arena, where so many of us in this community are in dentistry, is that I believe that you'll correct me if I'm saying this incorrectly, but he's the only financial professional serving dentist who holds all three of these elite certifications. And that's really special. So I share that here because Tim knows his stuff, right? Helps us be like, okay, why should I listen to Tim? Well, Tim knows his stuff. And beyond that, Tim is someone who really cares about people, who cares about making the world a better place. And you can see that. And Tim, I would tell you this all day, every day. What I know to be true about you is that you love, and it just touches my heart. I've never seen you give any kind of shade in any way on any kind of topic. You always lean into the positive, you always uplift. You are a bright light. So thank you for being a part of our community, and thank you for being here today to love into us and to help us with understanding the ripples of wealth. With that, can I start us off with a quick question?
Please do.
I tried to do a little introduction there, but maybe there's some things that you would want to add that I didn't include. But could you, if so, please feel free to add in, but also help us know why this topic. What's important about it to you? Why did you feel it would be important for us?
You know, all of you, right? The choices you make every single day create ripples, right? The choices that you make right now today, actually in this meeting, are going to create ripples that get spread out into the people you love, into the causes you care about, and they're going to ripple and they're going to make an impact out there in the world. But what's interesting about ripples, and I want you to think about this for a moment, right? Imagine you've got a beautiful pond, right? You're sitting at the lakeside, and in front of you is the lake. And if you take a rock and you throw it out into that water, it's going to create ripples. It's going to spread out. Pretty neat. But now I want you to imagine you're sitting at the lakeside, and we've been in drought for many years, and there's no water in that lake. If you take that rock, if you throw it out, not a single ripple is going to happen. It's going to hit the ground. Maybe you'll get a little dust, but there's not going to be many ripples at all. And when we talk about the ripples that you create, and especially the ripples of wealth, right? Wealth is the water in that lake that enables your impact to spread, right? Things cost money, right? It absolutely does. And when we talk about ripples of wealth, it's not just money, but it's also the giving, right? There's so many ways that you can give and you can create impact, but once again, having the wealth to do it helps you go even further. If you have the resources to make investments in yourself, in your business, if you can support those charities that you're passionate about. So that to me is why the ripples of wealth matter so much. It's your ability to make an even bigger splash and create even more impact in the world.
Yeah, I love that analogy of the dried up lake. That is so wonderful as a way to understand this. Are there things that people tend to misunderstand about wealth and its impact?
Yeah, I would tell you the biggest misunderstanding that I see when it comes to wealth is so often people don't have a plan. The doctors that I work with, the coaches, the consultants, the entrepreneurs, you typically don't have a plan when it comes to your wealth. Right? And why is that? Because you're working hard on your business, you're working hard on growing it, but you don't necessarily always tie that back into your personal world. And a lot of times that gets ignored. Or you're working with advisors and you typically think, oh, everything's okay. Like I've got people who are handling this, but the data, Vanessa, it's absolutely shocking. You're going to remember this for the rest of your life. 93.5. It's a huge number. 93.5%. Over 9 out of 10 entrepreneurs, you have some kind of error lurking in your wealth planning. You're overpaying in taxes. Your portfolio may be underperforming. Your tax mitigation strategy isn't aligned, or your assets aren't protected in a way that you should know, right? 9 out of 10 entrepreneurs have some kind of error lurking in your plan. And so I find that most of them, you ask about what that big misconception is, it's thinking
Hmm.
everything's okay. It's thinking there's no leaks in your lake. And the reality is there are. And the super rich, I've helped underwrite a lot of research. They're always stress testing their plans. They're doing what President Ronald Reagan taught us. Trust, but verify. And so that's the big mistake I see is people just assume everything's going to work out. It would be like not showing up to your doctor for your annual physical and thinking, oh, I'm fine. I never need to show up. But by getting those regular financial checkups, you can catch errors and you can shore up your leaky pond to make sure that your wealth continues to grow and you can take better care of the people you love, causes you care about, and make that meaningful impact in the world.
So my mind is already going to like, this is why we have business coaches, right? This is why we have someone with outside eyes on our financial plan, somebody who knows that we don't know. There's always a great value in that. But have you seen, so the flip side of that, have you seen examples of wealth or maybe a lack of wise stewardship affect people's well-being or their peace of mind?
Yeah, this is huge. Money causes issue. It's one of the biggest sources of divorce and of anxiety, of panic, is money issues, right? And when you're not paying attention to these, you invite the stress, you invite the worry, you invite the anxiety into your life. And I've seen this in my life time and time again, right? It's amazing how much of my well-being is sometimes linked to my cash flow. Right? It's shocking. It's almost embarrassing how much a lot of my
Yeah,
identity is based on how much money is my bank account? What's my business doing?
security. It feels safe, right?
The
Like you
security.
need that.
Exactly. And so being able to uncouple that, it allows you to start living from a place of abundance instead of tying your identity to your net worth. Now net worth, cash flow, absolutely important, right? I'm not saying ignore those things, but you need them in proper context. Because if they're not in proper context, that's where that anxiety creeps in, it's where the fear creeps in, it's where the uncertainty creeps in, and you start losing time, you start losing money, and you start losing confidence that you're going to reach your most important financial goal. So that's really the negative side of not
Mm.
paying attention to your wealth. And once again, those ripples spread out. What starts off as a little cash flow issue is now creeping into the anxiety and the way you interact with the people you love. It's creeping into how you deal with patients and you're doing patient treatment. It's dealing with how you deal with your clients because now you're operating from scarcity instead of operating from abundance.
Yeah. So what's the flip side?
Oh, the flip side is so beautiful, Vanessa. The flip
Let's go to
side,
the flip side.
oh, I love the flip side, and I'll share a personal story
Yeah.
of how this has actually impacted my life. And I want to tell you the story about a gentleman named Joe Herb. Joe Herb grew up in Merced, California, a little podunk town north of Fresno, a little bit in the Central Valley. And Joe had no high school education. Uneducated man, didn't know a whole lot about anything, but what Joe Herb did know about and what he really liked was motorcycles. Joe loved
Oh,
bikes, he liked Schwinn's, he liked Harley David dealerships, and Joe Herb started a Harley David dealership in Merced, California. And over time, he built some incredible wealth. He's actually a founding member of Willow Springs Racetrack, a very famous racetrack out here in California. And so Joe made some wise decisions, right? He surrounded himself with wise advisors. And like you, maybe you want to help provide education for the people you love. You want to give the people around you, the people you care about, you want to be able to elevate them and start them off at a much higher level. And so Joe, because he worked with advisors, set up an education trust for his grandchildren. He wanted to be able to provide education for the people he loved so that they wouldn't graduate with huge amounts of debt and they would be able to serve more and get that education. And because Joe Herb did that, my wife, Dana, was able to go to Loma Linda and graduate debt free. And I don't tell you that to say, oh, hey, look at us, how amazing. I tell you that because we're talking about the ripples of wealth.
yeah.
So, how has that spread ripples? Well, because of the fact we haven't had a debt load that a lot of other people have. Some guy I never met has
Yeah.
able to change the trajectory of our life. We've been able to be generous in the causes we support. We've been able to support kids in Africa. We've been able to give to your cats that you love so much.
Yeah.
So we're able to be more generous because we haven't been shackled with debt. So those are the
Mm.
ripples of someone I never met. in my entire life was able to do something with money that set Dana and I up in a better position so we can be more generous. And we're spreading ripples throughout the world because of what one man did. And I tell you this because this is available to you too. This is the flip side of making smart choices with your money is you can take better care of the people you love and have an even bigger impact in the world. So that's the flip side. There's some positivity there for you.
Oh my gosh, there's so many things that pop out on that for me. Like you say, you don't even know him, but like how it's affected your life. And then you've turned around and you've affected so many other people's lives. I know personally and working with you and like you being at our meetings and some of the you mentioned Africa and the money that we raised to expansion for Africa, that for the cat sanctuaries, or like all that's so empowering, isn't it? And it's motivating to us to hop out of bed to know that we can do more good in the world. Like I really love that. It makes me think of I think it's Chuck Blakeman in our community that says living a life of significance.
Yeah,
Right.
absolutely.
It's like, I love that term. It was, the world is better because you were here.
Hmm.
We're not a drain on the resources we're putting back. And I think that would appeal to so many people in our community, this idea of being a part of a solution. Thank
Yeah.
you for sharing that. And I just love hearing that story and how it affected you and Dana personally. That's lovely.
And the
Well,
next time you're in California, if you're driving through Merced, you can go visit Joe Herb Park. He's got a park named after him, right? I mean, this is the kind
ah,
of impact that you can create. And I'll address one other quick little misconception.
yeah.
It doesn't take money to do this, right? Sometimes it can be an encouraging word to someone. Sometimes it can be you giving of your time and just sitting down, right? I was on an Uber ride the other night, right? And the guy's like driving trucks and doing Uber and he's struggling in his business. You know what? I was just able to have a good conversation, steer him
Oh,
towards some resources. And I know that conversation I had is going to ripple throughout his life. So I don't want you to think you need lots of money to
no,
create ripples. You can create
no.
ripples whether you've got $10 million or you've got $0 in the bank. This is for everyone listening right now.
It's about intention.
100%.
I want to like pause for just a second because you're reminding me of some things. This is such a really important point because it's within everyone's grasp right now. And I have seen a phenomenon over the last 10, 15 years, as long as we've been rescuing cats. There have been days where I had things I had to get done, but I knew there were kittens in the drain and I knew the rain was coming and it was going to flood. And my lovely husband, who's on this call, would stand outside the drain waiting. And like
Mhm.
we would spend hours and we get those kittens eventually came out. We'd get those kittens, like all the things we did where we were intending not just for people, but for life, right? Like we're intending better in the world. We're intending to serve, which is what I'm hearing you say, serving at all these varying levels. And without fail, when I come back to my computer, I have a new sponsor. I have a new client. I've been referred 5 people while I was gone. Like there is a balance in the universe that we can explain it however our belief system explains it, but it's a real thing that whether we're giving money to help people get to college, which is like so incredibly generous and life-giving, or we're going to rescue kittens out of a drain, which is also life-giving and generous, but different. What I love about these ripples is that they touch. And I think there's a karmic nature to it, is what I'm hearing too. It's like there's this equalizer. And maybe we'll talk about this in a minute too in our conversations, but it feels like there's this great equalizer. Like you're not, when you give, Tim, it doesn't take away from you.
Yeah.
Have you
They-
seen that in your
well,
life as you give? Like, do you find more just comes in?
I find that more comes in, but it's not necessarily always monetary either. And I think this is worth pausing and diving a little bit
Yeah.
deeper into because our motives matter. And I know there have been times in my life where I've tried to link the generosity thinking, well, if I give more, I'm going to get more.
Mhm.
That's the wrong motivation, right? You
True.
have to come from a true place
Service.
of abundance, and
Yeah,
you wanna make sure that when you are giving of your time or your money or your talents, you're really doing it to serve the other person in front of you with 0 expectation of return.
that's right.
0, because if you expect it and it doesn't happen, it's gonna haunt you, and you're gonna say, "Well, why am I doing this? Why am I giving?" And so, you really have to identify and you know what? And if you're doing it and you have those feelings of, "Well, I'm doing it because it's the right thing, and maybe I'll get more," that's okay, pause, acknowledge it, and say, "Hey, my motivations aren't as pure as what they are." And that's okay, right? Confess it, acknowledge it, and do it anyway, but be aware of what are your motivations behind this, because you
Yeah.
really do wanna give without expectation, and I still struggle with that too, right? I like being liked, like, I like giving and supporting, it's a way for me to make friends and say, "Hey, I believe in what you're doing," but I have to come back and say, "No, no, it's okay, like, I'm not buying friendship, I'm not buying relationships, I'm doing this because I really believe in this," but I struggle with that too, so and I just wanna be vulnerable and authentic about that
Yeah.
is our motives are always a little mixed, and so I have to pause and say, What are my real motivations behind doing this?"
Oh, I love that. Let's definitely chew on this more when we're done here with our recording and our networking conversation, because I think our people that are here with us today are going to have more to add there. What I'm hearing in that is that not that it's a mistake, but it's kind of a common misstep in how all this works with ripples of wealth. Are there other common missteps or misunderstandings or mistakes that prevent people from creating meaningful ripples?
I would tell you the other major mistake I see all the time is people say, "Well, I can't do this now. I have to wait until later. I can't start giving. I can't start really supporting. Like I'm gonna have to wait till I get, this level of wealth or I reach this part of my career." No, you can start right now today. You can start in this meeting, right? Don't wait to start. And so that's the mistake I see is putting it off too far in the future. Now I'm not suggesting that, right? If you've got $10 left in your bank and someone's asking for $10, you give them the 10, like I'm not suggesting that, right? Take care of yourself first, right? Uh it's like being on a plane. I fly a lot, maybe you travel a lot also, and when you're on that plane, they always give you the safety briefing. And you know the one I'm talking about, the stewardess is sitting there and you're going, "This briefing again?" Well, what do they tell you? They say if the plane loses oxygen, put the oxygen mask on yourself first so you can be of service to everyone else. And so you're not doing it because you're selfish, you're not doing it because you don't care about others. You're doing it because if you don't put the oxygen mask on yourself, you're going to pass out and you're going to be of no good to anyone. So start taking care of yourself, but also start taking care of others in the process. And you can do that right now today. You do not have to wait. So that's the other misconception I see is waiting
Yeah.
too long to get started.
This is so much fun. I can't wait for us to open up our conversation. So I'm going to ask you one more question, if that's okay, and we'll just kind of wrap it. And I also noticed my internet's getting a little wonky. So we do have a co-host here. If I fall off, I'll be back. But here's our last question. If there was one thing that you would hope we would take from away from today, what would that be?
The single thing that I hope everyone listening today does is get a plan in place, right? Work with an advisor, work with someone who shares your values, who's heart-centered, and can help you put together that plan. Because if you don't know where you're going, who knows where you're going to end up? You right, create that roadmap and then stress test your plans, right? 93.5%, right? I mentioned this earlier. 9 out of 10 entrepreneurs, you have some kind of leak in your plan, you have some kind of error. Catch those things because by catching them, you shore up your plans, you create more wealth, and you're going to have more time, you're going to have more freedom, and you're going to have more confidence in your plan. So get a plan. And if you're not sure you're on track, run that stress test, get that second opinion. Because by doing that, that's the most powerful thing you can do. Because knowing you're on track is going to give you that confidence to start right now creating those ripples of wealth. So start now, get a plan, and if you don't have one, work with someone who can help you create that.
Oh, that's so awesome. Thank you. Thank you. I'm on fire. I'm excited. Before we stop our recording, could you share how do we reach you?
I'm super easy to find. A quick Google search for or AI or chat for Tim McNeely, you'll find my information anywhere. But you can send me a text at 818-534-4949. That's 818-534-4949. Or just go to Tim McNeely, TIMMCNEELY.com.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you so much, Tim. Appreciate you sharing, and especially for me, take it away from this. The most important piece was that reminder of we can do it today, right now, even in this session. We can, with the intention of serving and our mindset, our intention of making the world a better place. So let's do that. I'm going to stop the recording, and then we're going to head back to our group. And for those who are watching the recording, be sure you come to a future calibration circle. We'll fill your buckets. It's a great place to be. Check out Expansion, betheexpansion.com. We meet in January. And email info@vanessaemerson.com with questions. And Tim,
I just want to give a quick shout out to Expansion. Can I do that real quick, please?
yeah.
I would love to. So I've done Expansion with you the last 2 years in a row, and you talk about creating ripples. And coming and starting the new year off with a conference that isn't about business planning, at a conference where it's not about strategies and tactics and how you can achieve more and build a better business and delegate, right? Like, I love
Yeah.
those conferences, don't get me wrong, but by starting the year with really focusing on mental health and taking care of yourself first, these last 2 years have absolutely been the best in my business. Because
Oh,
it's a reset, right? It's cleaning
yeah.
the pond, it's setting the intentions, and it really has created ripples of impact. And I've talked with Dana about this, just right, we leave feeling calm, we feel grounded, and we feel ready for the year. And so if you want that reset, like I love expansion. I really do. It's so amazing. And it
It,
is a ripple creating effect at expansion.
Thank you for that. It really is. And I can say that without being egotistical, because expansion is really not about me. It's about the circle of people that are there, and everyone's sharing and leaning in and loving and supporting and helping and guiding. And it's a magical place. So betheexpansion.com. Thank you for that. We're going to say goodbye to now to our recording, and hello to our studio audience.